What's going on, guys? DRYTRON Logan JY here, back again. I gotta say, I am disappointed in the lack of faith that the Yu-Gi-Oh community has in DRYTRON right now, guys. You guys are forgetting that this is one of the greatest decks of all time, and I want to make sure that is darn clear. And that's why with this build, we are doing DRYTRON as consistent as possible. That's right, we've taken all the bricks out of the deck, made it as clean as can be, and I'm going to show you how strong it truly is. So be sure to smash that like button. Let's go over 75 likes. Subscribe if you ain't already done so. Thank you guys for getting us to 4K. I really appreciate it. You know, I didn't know if we were still going to keep going. But you guys make it possible, alright? You really, really do. So thank you for your consistent support. I don't want to preface this too much. Shoutouts to Team YuGiOh. Shout out to Your Playmat. Peep them down below if you want custom sleeves, custom playmats, and a whole lot more. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Logan JYA here. The DRYTRON is back with 8.0, the most consistent DRYTRON build you're going to find on the internet and in the universe. As you guys already know, DRYTRON's the best deck, hands down, and we are going to show you why and how you can make it as consistent as can be. Now, is the ceiling as high as 7.0 or 6.0? I'm going to be straight up honest with you. No, it is not. But we trade the higher ceiling for maximized consistency. Seldom will you ever brick with this particular build, and I'll explain all those choices as we go through it. Before we get into it, shout out to YuGiOh, Team YuGiOh, you already know, we'd be repping it. And shout out to my boy Tatsum, okay, because him and I built this list together live on stream a couple weeks ago, and I tell you what, man, it really does what it aims to do well. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright, guys, starting off with the monster line, if you guys know, we're going to run through this part real quick. We got triple copies of Alpha Thubin, you already know. Look how good it looks on the blue Spellground. I want to do a little bit of a throwback here. You guys might remember this mat from years and years ago on my channel. Coming back with that, we got the triple copies of Zeta, search that ritual spell, baby. And then we messed with the golden ratio. We're now doing triple copies of Gamma. Now, like I said at the start, we're trying to maximize consistency. That means seeing names. So we are playing triple copies of Gamma in this particular build. Going to be straight up honest with you guys. It's pretty essential for what we're trying to do, as well as double copies of Delta. Now hear me out. When Tatsum and I built this list for the first time, we were doing triple copies of Delta, and we were playing a 42 card deck. So we were playing, like, you know, max out the amount of names, but we weren't at 40 cards, right? This is a 40 card build. I kind of wanted to stick to that a little bit closer so we could see some of those Saki 1-ofs, like the Call by the Grave, a little more often, as well as our side deck cards, as well as our kind of going second cards. So I kept it to 40. You could bump it up to 42, and I'll tell you what those other slots are a little later on. But that's for the DRYTRON lineup. We have messed with the golden ratio for this build, but there is a reason for that. Moving on, we've got triple copies of Diviner, absolutely essential. You guys already know what to do. And then we're only doing double orange light in this build, and the one Eva, because we are not adding back Eva in this particular build. Again, we traded out any and all bricks to maximize consistency and consolidate the package to as small as possible. We want to be opening playable every hand we draw. Moving on from there, ritual lineup, we've got the one Ben 10, you already know it. Better not get banned. Konami, if you're watching right now, if you ban this card, we're going to have issues, my friend, alright? We got the one copy of Ida 10 for adding back our rituals, and the one copy of Natasha. So it is more important to play more rituals in this particular build because we need to be resilient. We need to be able to break boards. We need to have those search targets in deck. So I think the full package here is rationalized now more than ever. Also playing the one copy of Herald of Ultimateness and the one copy of Medionis Draconid. So since we're not playing Dragoon, we're not playing DPE, spoiler alert, but I think that's pretty obvious when I said we're not playing bricks, we have to play the Draconids because this is basically our fallback strategy if we get hand trapped, specifically if we get Drolled. It's still very easy to end on this, and in games 2 and 3 when you're intentionally playing around Droll, say you have a hand where it's a little tricky to do so, you can make your alpha search for Medionis in case you get Drolled, and then you can play, as long as you have 2 DRYTRON names on the board, you can summon your Draconids and still have that form of interruption. It's a very strong form of interruption as well, I might add. And you can also very oftentimes back it up with an IP Mask Arena. So that is the ritual package, and it for the monster lineup. Let's move into spells. Triple copies of Cyber Emergency, maximize consistency. Triple copies of Preparation of Rites, again, maximize consistency. You want to see that Ben 10, that's what lets you play. It also gets you into any of your other ritual monsters outside of Draconids and Ultimateness, and it gives you the added benefit of adding back that ritual spell. Now remember, we want to be smart about it. We don't want to play win more. If we need to search a fairy to make an orange light live, we're searching a fairy to make an orange light live. Alright guys, so be sure to play this card, but play it smart. Moving on from there, we got the triple copies of Nova. If you're trying to play a consistent build, you got to do triple copies of Nova. Moving on from there, we've got the one copy of Fafnir. It just serves as an additional name or another way to get to your ritual spell, because this either searches Nova or the ritual spell. And its added bonus effect is kind of cool that your opponent can't negate ritual summon. Seldom does it ever come up, but hey, I like the Fafnir. It's pretty cool. Moving on from there, the one copy of Medionis Draconids. Alright, so you know we only need to play one ritual spell. I think that's pretty public knowledge right now. Especially from my channel, if you watch my DRYTRON vids, you know we don't go above one Medionis, and that holds true to this day. We're also playing the one Sacky one of the Called by the Grave, the Sacked by the Grave. It feels really good to resolve it, but it sucks when it resolves against you. You guys know how this card is. Maybe it should be banned, or maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on that, guys. Comment down below. Should Call by be banned? I'm curious to hear. And then finally, we've got the triple copies of Forbidden Droplets for the spell cards. I know, guys, it's expensive, but you guys already know. If you need cheaper options, you can play Dark Ruler no more. You really can. It's not as good because it's not as strong against the Scythe block, which is a very real thing. However, DRYTRON's one of those few decks that can still kind of play through the Scythe block if you play your cards right. I'm going to be honest, you can still end on Draconids, or you can make a Natasha play to steal cards. You can do it, but we are really taking our precautions here with the triple droplets. If you wouldn't want to play this, you play Dark Ruler or Chalice. Those are your big options. And then following up there with the triple copies of Imperm. So we are playing two different going second cards, but I think are the most applicable in the current format. The deck you're going to see most often, which is Swordsoul. We really got to be ready for that matchup. The Protos is a problem. The Imperm deals with the Protos. The Imperm and the droplets both deal with the Chow Fang, alright? We got to be ready for that kind of stuff. It deals with Winda as well. It deals with pieces on the bird board, or it deals with the Tri-Brigade monster trying to activate. We're ready, guys. That's what this build is for. So we do play some going second cards. Could you make the argument that that hurts our consistency? Maybe, I guess, but do you want to lose if you lose the die roll? No, we're trying to win here, so come on. Anyway, let's move on to the extra deck. A lot of this stuff we can go through quick, alright? Double copies of Moy Beta Fafnir, you already know, it's absolutely mandatory. The one copy of Assembled Nightingale, this comes up all the time, especially when I'm playing against Swordsoul players, and I need to leave only one monster on the field, or maybe this and another card are on the field. I'm just trying to play through the blackout, or whatever it may be. Assembled Nightingale is really, really strong. It's good against so many different decks. Highly encourage you guys to consider playing this card, because it just cannot be popped, and that's pretty convenient. So there's a lot of situations where it comes up, and it's just a darn good thing to summon. Follow that up with the one copy of the Downer Magician to go into your Zeus plays, as you guys already know. And then we've got the one copy of Beatrice, which is essential for your combos, whether it be send in Eva, send in other DRYTRON names, you name it, we send it. So that's why we play the Beatrice. Moving on from there, we've got the one copy of Link Karibo, you already know. One copy of IP Masquerena to tag out into some of our other things. One copy of Nightmare Phoenix to pop the back rows, specifically those obnoxious floodgates that could come down and make your day a little bit more difficult. The only floodgate, I really want to address this here, the only floodgate that absolutely obliterates DRYTRON that we really struggle against is Summon Limit, okay? And this one's not going to help too much against Summon Limit. Our main out to that is Normal Summon Diviner. That and the Imperial Order. We gotta be ready for those two cards. So of course we're ready with our Phoenix, we're also ready with our Unicorn, this double duty, shuffle back with our IP Masquerena on the opponent's turn, or shuffle out problem cards when you're breaking boards. We got the one copy of Apollosa, negates, additional negates. Sometimes you tag out your IP and your Beatrice and an extra card on field. Boom, more negates, what you gonna do? Win, that's right. Move on from there, we got the Borrelsword Dragon for the One Punch Man. One punch, go for game, you already know. So very, very phenomenal. Switch things to defense, just swings a lot, gets big, outs problematic cards, and you can make it indestructible with your IP on your opponent's turn. Pretty flipping good. And then this one, I gotta praise Tatsum on this one, alright? I think we've talked about this card in some of my previous tech videos. In this build in particular, he was very adamant about playing this card, and he's so darn right. The Underworld Goddess out so many different things. It's a Link 5. You can use it in combination with IP to link summon using your opponent's monster on their turn. It's phenomenal, guys. It's phenomenal. So I highly encourage you to give this card a try. And then, of course, we've got our generic stuff, the Elder Entity Entis and the Herald of the Arclight. You guys got to play them. Now, that's the extra deck. Let's finish things up with the side deck, which is a lot different than many of the other DRYTRON side decks that I've shown thus far, and there's some things I'm thinking about changing where I'm going to need your guys' input on, okay? Well, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, starting things off, we've got the triple copies of Artifact Lancia, right? So this is serving triple, quadruple duty. I don't know. It stops so many different things. Specifically being the Phantom Knights, the Tri-Brigades, the Protos, the Tenyis. There's so many things that Lancia comes in and puts in work against, all right? The only thing that's not really that good against is the Mirror, all right? And I will say that the Mirror is probably going to be one of our trickiest matchups, but hey, we play more hand traps than they do, and hopefully our going second cards will suffice. But I'll explain a little bit further on why I think we might want to make some adjustments in the future. I'm playing the one copy of Token Collector. That may sound silly, right? Like one copy, you're never going to see it. Well, guess what? If you end on Beatrice, you can send this to the grave on the Swordsoul opponent's standby phase, and then summon it from the grave, triggering it, and basically popping off their tokens, not letting them play with their Swordsoul engine. It's pretty darn good, okay? And pretty disrespectful, too. It feels good to have that extra little bit of knowledge, knowing that you can go into that play right there. Following that up, we got the triple copies of the Dark Ruler No More. Just Say No to the Boards. Definitely bringing that in the mirror match or any other build-the-board matchup. Again, Swordsoul, you're going to see it a lot. Dark Rulers are pretty easy coming because it deals with the Chow Fang, deals with the Baron, deals with the level 8 Synchro, See Ya Chump. Move on from there, we've got the triple copies of Twin Twister to deal with back row. We want to hit more back row. I get it. The Scythe Lock, this does nothing against, but you have to hear me out here, okay? Because we have a lot of things that already deal with the Scythe Lock in the main and in the... mostly in the main, but the decks that put it up, we have other cards to deal with them, and we really don't want to overside just for the Scythe Lock. We really want to have high impact against those problematic trap decks. Moving on from there, this is where I think things could change in the future. I'll start off with the obvious one. Okay, we got the red reboot. We are still playing that. We just want to be able to disrespect trap decks, so that's why we play that. And then this, I like it a lot, but we might want to change it. I'm doing triple Judgment and the one copy of Imperial Order for hard going first, okay? So obviously IO is a weird choice, right? And I've seen a lot of people who aren't even doing the add back IO combo with Mecha Phantom Beast, Auroradon. If you guys want to see that combo, there's other content creators who already done it, or you can help smash this video, get it above, like, let's do 75 likes, and I'll probably do a video on that one too. But it's a pretty cool combo. Regardless, we're just bringing this in because this card's objectively unfair. So if you're going first, it's a legitimate card that you can bring in. If you see it in your opening hand, this +2 DRYTRON names is going to win most matches, right? So really good card. And then the Judgment, I wanted something that could stop what this deck loses to, and that being Droplets and Dark Ruler. Since we're not playing the Scythe combo on the opponent's turn, we're a bit more susceptible to those cards, and I wanted that extra little layer of protection, so I decided to go with the Judgment. Another card that Tatsum suggested and that we were testing was a Pointer of the Red Lotus. Also a very strong option, but the last thing I've been considering is cutting it completely for triple copies of Droll. I think either one works. Both are fine. They're both doing very different things. This, of course, you're only bringing in when you go first. Droll is another card for when you have to go second against decks like the Bird Up, against decks like Dragon Link, and of course the Mirror Match. So things to stay aware of. But anyway, that's it for the side deck. Let's do a combo tutorial, and then maybe we'll have some replays at the end. Let's move on. Alright guys, for our first combo tutorial of this video, we're going to do a couple throwbacks tonight, alright? And I'm going to show you the combos that you really need to know if you're going to play this particular build, and those are your basics, okay? We're going back to basics, and if you need a refresher course on any sort of DRYTRON combo, be sure to go check out my DRYTRON 101 playlist. Anyway, enough shameless plugging aside, we got Alpha Zeta, and I'm going to show you how to play through and around Nibiru or any other hand traps when you open up one additional fairy in hand. It's even easier if you hard open the orange light and you can just search anything and really play extremely safely, but any one fairy in hand can make your hand 100% safe from Nibiru. So if you see this one before, feel free to skip ahead. We're going to show you how to play through Droll after this, but I think this is a great refresher, and for anybody who's getting new to the deck and getting into it, first and foremost, welcome to the club, King. I'm glad you decided to play the best deck, but let's get into it right now. Alright guys, so to start things off, we're going to start off with the most obvious of plays, right, and that's Alpha Pitch Zeta, the thing that we do best. Alpha add Ben 10, Zeta effect, pitch that Ben 10, baby. And you're going to, of course, add your ritual spell here, and then off of the Ben 10 effect, you're going to add that orange light, right? So, of course, this doesn't play around the Droll necessarily, but it does help you deal against the pesky Nibiru. We are officially Nibiru-proof from this point on out, and we're going to continue to be for the entirety of this combo. So next, we're going to overlay our two monsters over here, go for our DRYTRON Moy Beta Fafnir. Now, even if you were to get impermed at this point, you've got two other cards in your hand that you can easily play with, so you're going to kind of rely on that front. So we resolve Moy Beta effect here, sending our copy of Gamma from deck to the grave, like so. Next we activate our Medionis, detach 1, special summon back out that Ben 10, right? We're going to go Gamma effect, pitch that Ben 10, summon out that Zeta, and trigger that Ben 10 effect to search, grabbing us Diviner. Next we'll reduce our Gamma to add this back to hand. We'll then normal summon our Diviner like so, and use its effect, sending Herald. Herald effect to search. Here we're going to grab our Ultimateness. Next we'll activate Medionis, detach off Moy Beta. Here you're going to summon Ida 10 from hand, add back Medionis. Now if you opened up any other fairy name, whether it be Natasha, Ben 10, Diviner, whatever it is in your opening hand, you can still play full combo. You basically just use your Ben 10 search to get you into whatever missing piece that there is in your combo. So we're just doing it via example that this is how you open, right? Next, we'll overlay our 2, summon our Beatrice. Beatrice effect to send. You got two choices here, right? You can send another name here and now, like a Delta to go for your free draw, or you can send the Eva to lock and load additional negates at this current point in time. If you want to wait for your opponent's turn, you can do that as well, but I am going to advise sending the Eva here just in case of droplets. This gives us a little bit more protection. So we're going to send our Eva, we're going to banish the Diviner and the Arclight, and we're going to search another copy of Diviner and Orange Light to hand. So we're going to have guaranteed 3 negates on our Herald of Ultimateness. Next we'll activate that Medionis. We'll send whatever monster we did not reduce. You guys already know how we do. Summon that Ultimateness. Medionis goes to grave, and then you take your remaining 2 monsters on the board and turn them into an IP Mask Arena on the top, like so. So here's what we're ending on, okay? We've got the IP tag out for additional interruption on the opponent's turn. We've got guaranteed 3 negates on the Herald of Ultimateness, and a Beatrice effect to send the Delta on the opponent's turn, or the Natasha, whichever we prefer, to guarantee additional names engraved. Give us every name in rotation. That's it for this combo. Let's play through Droll and Lockbird. Alright guys, for the final combo of this video, I'm going to show you how to play through Droll with Alpha plus Zeta. Now, this is, again, situational, and you don't inherently want to go for this line of play unless you have another way to either Ben 10, that being Preparation Rites, Diviner, Ben 10, or if you have another name in hand, that being Gamma, Delta, Fafnir, Nova, whatever it may be, Emergency. You want to make sure you have another name in hand so you're still able to go for your full combo if they do not have the Droll. But in this situation, I'm going to show you what to do with just Alpha and Zeta to be prepared and kind of run through the play. But if you don't have any of those backup strats, you kind of prefer to still attempt to go for the full combo line unless you're absolutely fearing it. You've got to read on your opponent, you know they have it. This board isn't 100% optimized, but it's still really, really strong. I'm going to show you how to do it starting with Alpha. You can also do it starting with Zeta. It literally makes no difference, and you'll see why. I'll point it out later. Without further ado, let's get into it. I've also highlighted this in one of my past combo tutorials as well, but it's pretty outdated considering how much the deck has changed since then. Anyway, without further ado, let's do it. Alright guys, so starting things off, we're going to go for the Alpha pitch Zeta. We're going to summon it out right here, and again, if you have a different way to get to the Ben 10, you're going to use this particular effect to search out Medionis here instead of your Ben 10. So go for Medionis, Draconids, DRYTRON, and it's at this point where we anticipate after our search that our opponent is going to drop that Droll and Lockbird, okay? So if that Droll comes down, you're going to say, see it, Chomp, who even cares? We're playing around it. We're still ending on interruptions. I don't care about that one card that's supposed to cripple my deck. We're going to go Zeta effect, pitching the Draconids like so, alright? So we pitch that, and then we cannot search for it, so it's okay. It doesn't really matter, because we have any other name in hand that also will do the same thing. Just going to preface that. And then we are going to summon our Moy Beta Fafnir like so. Alright, we're then going to use Moy Beta's effect to Foolish from deck to grave. We're going to send the Medionis DRYTRON like so. Then we're going to reduce the attack of our Moy Beta Fafnir, add it back to hand, detach to, summon out Big Chungus, okay? Listen. Know what you're thinking. Dude, you're just ending on Big Chungus. If I was playing a different build, I could end on Dragoon, or I could end on DPE. And you're 100% right, my friend. You absolutely could do that. But here's the thing. Those engines play bricks. We're doing this in the most consistent DRYTRON build physically possible. So that's what we're doing a little different in this build. That's why we kind of have to go back to our old tricks, right? So we're still ending on a Big Chungus that's got immunity protection from certain effects and gives us an up to double pop on the opponent's turn by banishing names from grave. And of course, it doesn't have to stop there, and this is just a backup plan. If you have any of your other consistency cards, it's even safer. You just have have to have this combo in your repertoire in case you get hit with that pesky Droll and Lockbird, and there's nothing else you can do. You can still end on a big Chungus, so it's important to be aware of this stuff. Anyway, let's do one DB replay and bring this video to a close. Alright guys, to close out this video, we've got a DB replay for you against Swordsoul. Go figure, you know, the most represented deck, but far from the best deck, baby. We all know that title belongs to DRYTRON, the DRYKage, and all of you who choose to pursue this deck. Now, this opponent, I really want to show this replay because it's not the most insane end board that we've ever had to fight through, but the amount of interruptions that we forge on through and some of the cool interactive plays that I want to show off here is really why I wanted to show you guys this one. It's not going to be long, it's going to be quick, so let's get into it. Of course we lose a die roll. Are you surprised? Because I sure as heck am not, but look at this opening hand. Absolutely insane. We got the droplets, we've got the live orange light with the diviner, and we intentionally hold this orange light, right? Because knowing that we're playing against Swordsoul, you got to figure there's going to be some hand traps in there, right? So we're going to let him go off. And of course, he draws into the Droll off of the Mo-Yi. Absolutely insane. So he goes for his emerging, gets his long yong, decides to play conservatively, ending on the 3 back rows and passing turn. So we're starting things off with the emergence. Here comes that Droll, but we were ready. We hit him with the orange light. Moving on from here, we got Alpha Pitch Zeta. Fortunately, no strike. Get us into our Ben 10. We're going to go Zeta effect, pitching that Ben 10, adding Meteonis and our Diviner of the Herald here. Can overlay from Moy Beta, knowing that we have the droplets, so if he goes for the neg, we chain the droplets. It's already attacked his Have, though, so we're going to sling on over and clear that. Go for the Zeus play, alright? Knowing that we can't be Blackout anymore, he hits us with that first Imperm, we chain again, make sure the Blackout gets out of the way. Go for the Preparation of Rites here. This lets us add back the Meteonis, normal summon that Diviner, pitch that Herald, grab our Ultimateness. Now watch this, guys. Meteonis pitch, special back that Ben 10, go for Beatrice, Foolish Burial to Gamma, pitch the Ida from hand, didn't really matter what we pitched, I'll be honest. We overlay these two for a second copy of Moy Beta, get a free add back, go for the Summon of Ultimateness, get the IP on field. We go Draw Phase, Effect Beatrice. This is where it gets a little unfortunate because he does hit us with the Ash Blossom. He also had the Chalice. Either one would have worked. And he goes for the Emergence, normal summon that Mo-Yi, reveal that Long Yong. And I was a little nervous here when I was actually playing this game. Like, if he has one more Worm or Swordsoul name in hand, we're going to be in trouble. And I was like, do we want to go for Invincible Boral Sword? Or do we want to go for this guy? We tag these 3 out, we use his monster, the Mo-Yi, and we make the Underworld Goddess, right? So that cleared a monster off his board, and we had an indestructible, only interruptible by cards that specifically targeted Underworld Goddess, which was absolutely strong. And then next game, I feel bad about this one because he kind of just bricked and we opened up pretty good, right? But he has the Droll and Lockbird. We disrespect him with the Herald Pitch Eva, and that's all she wrote, right? So obviously, Herald of Orange Light put in a lot of work here in this matchup. I can't lie there, but there were some cool interactions, like using our Zeus as the material to activate our Meteonis that was built into the plan. There's a lot of cool stuff that you just got to be aware of. So as you guys know, continue to play DRYTRON. DRYTRON's still one of the best decks of all time. You guys already know it. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and that's all I got. Logan JYA, the DRYKage, signing off. Have a great day, and I'll see you chumps later. Peace.